Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to 3D model hair for Roblox. Today I'm using this reference. We're going to go through modeling with curves and we're going to create the hair texture itself in GIMP. So you're going to need Blender 2.8 or the newest version and GIMP. So first we're going to start with curves. I'm going to assume that you guys have a basic knowledge on Blender itself. If not, I'd recommend maybe an easier tutorial on my channel. With that being said, just follow along. We're going to create a path. Paths are very intuitive when it comes to creating hair because you have complete control over the strands and the sizes of it. So what I mean by that is by editing the path, such as here, you can see that the strand, this black line, is edited as well, and it creates a natural curve versus something that you would create by hand. So we're going to create a path, and normally when you model hair, if you're working on a high engine that can handle a lot of stuff, you would use a circle as your bevel object. Bevel objects kind of fill the geometry and create that depth to the line. So if I were to select this as the bevel object, you see that this circle takes up the shape of the path. The path is the length and the bevel object is the shape. So you see if I make edits to the circle, it actually applies to the path. So let's say you wanted your hair to look like that, the strands, then that's how you would do that. You can use Alt-S to scale each individual part. So to create more of a hair look, so to speak, you would kind of scale these in and, edit it to your liking. But we're not going to use circles as the bevel object. And the reason why is because Roblox, it's very picky in terms of how many vertices and triangles you can use. So the best way to optimize that is to actually create your own bevel object. So we're going to start with a plane in edit mode. We're going to grab the top two corners and we're going to edge collapse to create a triangle. And using face select tool, we're going to delete only the faces. Now you see we have a blank triangle object here. Next, we're going to use Alt-C to convert it to a curve, and it is now a curve that would work with the path. Selecting the path now, we're going to set the bevel object as this triangle, and you can see that our triangle is actually now the object. Next step, we're going to turn down the resolution. So what I mean by that, if we go into wireframe mode, we see all these edge loops, and all these cuts, but we actually don't need that many, especially if we're creating an optimized mesh. So what we're going to do is turn the resolution down to 4. You could do 3 if you want it super optimized. I'm going to stick to 4. Actually, I'm going to stick to 3. And this will just create a highly optimized hair and you won't have to do too much cleanup at the end of the product. With those things being said, I think we're ready to start the modeling process. You can see here that I have this reference in Blender already, but if you don't have a reference, you can go to Add Image Reference and go ahead and import whatever hair you'd like to model. And we're just gonna, we're going to hide this triangle and get started on our hair. I'm gonna start with the bangs in the front. I kind of work front to back. It's up to you on how you'd like to do your workflow. Additionally, you can use mirror modifier for these back strands. So I'd rather get the first ones done first and then start on the back ones. So starting with the bangs, we're going to analyze it right here. They're coming from an angle, swooping across the face, and they get kind of sharp towards the bottom. So we're going to bring this over. We're going to scale it down. And we're just going to model the bangs. Something like that should be fine for the bangs. Again, we can check the wireframe mode and see that there is plenty of loop cuts and it's looking pretty good so far. So we got like a first strand on. I'm gonna connect it to the scalp and just tinker with the shape a little bit more. And I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to create a thinner bang. You can see this thin one right there. And again, coming from relatively the same spot. And have it swoop kind of through here. And one more over here. It's kind of up to you on how you want to create your own look to it. I'm sticking kind of close to the reference and just getting these bangs taken care of. It's kind of swooping down a little too low for my preference. I'm just gonna that's pretty good so far. Gonna create a few more strands. The whole key to modeling hair is to layer things and make it look natural. And one tip that I received, and I've really stuck with it, is to add a lot when you begin and take away later if you have to. Because you never want to be stingy with it and then your final product look like it's missing something. Okay, I'm done with the bangs. Next, I'm going to add another path, just like that. I'm going to unhide our bevel object and apply it to the path, the new path. And I'm going to add a mirror modifier. Just like that. Create kind of a part with it. I find that the hardest thing to model is kind of this awkward area where it's above the shoulder and behind the back. It's kind of weird to get it kind of natural. You got to pick which direction you want to go, but you know, just try to follow your reference. I'm going to layer another one over here later to fill up this area, but for now I'm working my way towards the back. Starting to fill up, but it's not looking too great. Gonna add some volume. It's looking a little better now. I think the flyaway hairs and strands is what's gonna make it look better towards the end. I'm going to convert these and just check some things real quick. Oh, I forgot to change the resolution for the new paths, but that's okay. I'll just optimize it. So here's how it's looking so far. Not too bad. The cool thing about paths is that they automatically unwrap themselves. So I'm just going to skip the optimization because I kind of already touched up on that, although I didn't follow my own advice. To avoid so many so many loop cuts like this, you're gonna have to set the resolution of the path to 3 or 4. But I'll optimize that off camera so I don't waste any more of y'all's time, and I'll go ahead and show you how to create the texture in GIMP. So we're going to create a new image that's 256 by 256. Using the paint bucket tool, we're going to select whatever color we want it. For this case, let's say we want a fun, we'll do a blue, a fun blue, okay? We're going to color it blue. I'm going to do kind of a more sky blue color, like this. And what we're going to do is go to Filters, Noise, HSV Noise, and we're going to turn the dulling down, hue down, saturation down, and the value up. It's going to be up quite a bit. You can honestly do 1.0. For lighter textures, it's best to go all the way up. For darker textures, it's best to kind of keep it halfway. Next, we're going to add a linear motion. We're going to turn the length all the way up and the angle to 90 degrees. And you can see we kind of already have that hair effect. And just repeat it a couple times. Just like that. Next, on a new layer, I'm going to use this square select button, this rectangle select button, and I'm going to fill it with a white color for the highlights, just like this on a new layer. And select none. Right click, select none. Next, under filters, we're going to go to Gaussian blur and turn it up to about 14 and set the layer to overlay. And then just turn down the opacity. Next, I'm just going to add some dark parts. Something like this. And I'm just going to fill it with the paint bucket tool. The top and bottom just like so. Select none. And again with the filter, Gaussian blur. And set that to overlay as well. And finally, I like to add some segments like this to kind of add some clumps of hair and define it more. And that's pretty good for the texture. We're just going to export it as a PNG. And in Blender, we're going to create a new material under the base color so it is an image texture, and open up the new image that you just saved. And drag it in, just like that. You see that the texture is actually sideways, so under UV editing, select everything and rotate it 90 degrees. And you'll see that the hair applied, the color of the texture applied to the hair. If you'd like to edit individual strands and the way the hair looks on them, you can select them individually. So let's say I want these bangs to look different. I could select them, I could scale them up, I can adjust them however I like. But that's your very basic hair tutorial. For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.